Mathilde, good morning. Thanks for joining Yachting USA. We're, of course, part of the Yachting International Radio Group. And thanks for coming here and seeing me at the IBEX today.
Thank you for having me.
It's a real pleasure, real
Thank
pleasure.
You.
So to be clear, to get this out of the way, I'm not even going to try it. I thought I would, but you're from a town on the South Atlantic coast of France.
That's called Arcachon, south of Bordeaux.
Arcachon, yes. Bordeaux. And you're the business BlueNav of manufacturing and providing hybrid electric systems for boats to help turn typically conventionally powered boats, if I get this right, into an electric with the option of running on electric power and going hybrid one way or the other, right?
Yes.
Got it. Fantastic.
The idea is to turn both hybrids, but our systems are actually full electric.
Right.
We just add them on a boat that's already equipped with the combustion engine. So we give the possibilities of boaters to get the best of both worlds, basically, without touching anything on their boat.
Bravo. Wow, that sounds cool. So I've got to ask, you guys are a fairly new company, and is this your first time coming to the States into the IBEX as far as bringing the product here?
It's the second year.
Second year,
yes.
Okay.
We attended last year to be curious about the American market and how you interact with electric motors and what you expect of us.
Right. Well, that's real, and I come from a little bit of a perspective. There's a gentleman in the industry, we call him Electric Eddie Dennison, from the Dennison family, and not only is he a good friend, but he's a big advocate for going all electric and hybrid electric, and he's been in the space. We've had conversations like battery technology and elements of that sort that kind of factor into what you do when you go hybrid or fully electric. And I remember from our conversation, your mindset right now is to start with a hybrid. I think that's more comfortable. It's an easier scale.
It's an easier scale. I would say that it's also a concrete answer to all the technological and mindset evolution that need to happen to go to full electric. And that's why we've chosen to turn both hybrids in the first place, because it gives them the opportunity to slowly but surely get acquainted with electric and want more as we evolve.
Okay, I think we did enjoy the conversation about it's not the destination so much as the voyage.
It's all about the journey.
It's all about the journey.
I think personally there are very few occasions where you would want to go fast on the water when we talk about recreational boating mostly. And in that case, you can use your combustion engine. But for the remaining of the journey, you do want to feel and be completely immersed in the nature that you're looking for in the first place. And so that calls for accepting to go a little bit slower, and electric can provide you that answer.
Right. Well, we talked about yesterday, and after that conversation, I thought about it, and I thought, now that would be really cool. I told you about the crossing that we do.
Yes.
So Kristen and I, every year, this will be our fourth year, we do what's called crossing for cystic fibrosis. It's going after awareness of that horrible disease. And we raise money. Last year we raised almost $800,000. In fact, I think we hit $800,000. We're looking to raise $1 million this coming year in 2025. But on the trip across, we're doing a whopping 4 knots as we're escorting paddleboarders behind our boat. And you mentioned, but you got your engines running, and you have your exhaust. And some of the boats, not mine, but some of the boats do put out exhaust that the paddlers don't like to be in, and it's not as nice. How beautiful would it be to just turn on those electric motors? It'd be silent, and we'd be running at 4 or 5 knots, and we'd be like the paddleboarders, except for we have propellers moving us instead of paddles. But I thought about that, and I thought that would be really cool.
You'd be surprised. I've been out on the water since I was born, and I rediscovered the pleasure of actual navigation the first time that I went on our trial boats, our demo boats, once the product was ready. It's a completely different experience to be out and to actually hear the sound of the water, splashing on the hull, and then literally the birds will come down on the boat. Where I'm from, we also have the pleasure of having dolphins around.
Yeah, we get that too.
you forget um, how loud a combustion engine actually is and how much of a pleasure it is to actually turn it off.
Yeah, absolutely. I can imagine that. Well, one of the things I like to do when we're doing that crossing, the sun's coming up, we're usually about 30 miles off the coast and in the middle of the ocean, see nothing but blue horizon. And I do turn engines off. We'll just sit and watch the sunrise and make a cup of coffee and, look at that. Or in the nighttime run, the phosphorescence in the water, the natural lights that shine from the bioluminescence. It's just so beautiful. And I can imagine if we didn't have the electric or the carbon internal combustion engines running and just return to cars, that would be fun.
The freedom. Freedom is enhanced when you don't have all the nuisance of the AC. Even though it is very still necessary today to have that engine, we do rely on it, and we still need people on. We will need it for another decade, if not two.
That's the hybrid part of it. That's being in a hybrid vessel, so that when you do need either the speed, the range, a little bit of combination of both, maybe.
Yes.
If you have to run from weather or something comes up, you can kick into your primary engines, your main propulsion. But when you're ready to relax and pour a glass of wine and enjoy the sea, then turn on the electric, turn off the primary engines, and just enjoy.
I think the speed is thrilling for the pilot, not necessarily for the passengers.
Well, all you have to do is you have to go to this YouTube channel. I think it's called the Hullover Inlet channel, and you see these idiots going out in just these rough conditions, and the guys at the helm's having a blast, and then his wife or girlfriend and the kids are being bounced around the boat. It's like
it's a little bit cliche, but yes, usually the wives have the wind and the kids are on their laps and they're, can you go slower, please?
Yes, exactly. I love it.
But you could see many other use cases that make sense for hybrid boats. I have a few on the top of my mind. For example, if you take tourists at sea to discover, I don't know, either just observe the ecosystem or go around the Statue of Liberty in New York. Why not? Why would you possibly need to go fast? You just want people on board to enjoy
the vision.
Enjoy the vision and their experience. But,
no, I get that. It makes perfect sense to me. And I think that's why here in the States we are starting to see a greater interest in the hybrid technology and even in some all-electric boat technologies. It's a slow burn, though.
It is.
There's a whole culture that has to be kind of changed. There's a fleet of boats that either need to phase out, or I think this is what the value of BlueNav is. You can take an existing boat, conventionally powered,
yes,
and then you can incorporate your electric system, propulsion system into that boat.
Yes.
Tell us about how that works. What do you do there?
You could almost call it plug and play, but even though it's not really. What we wanted to do behind the product is we wanted to absolutely make sure that it was as easy as possible to integrate for our professionals who have worked for decades with mechanics and who now need to reinvent their job.
Right.
They need to learn about electric propulsion. And so it's basically, if we take the outboard version, it's basically 4 screws and plug the blue cable with the, blue cable and red with the red, and there you go, your system works. And by the simple press of a button on your dashboard, you'll switch from one propulsion mode to another. So it's made extremely easy to integrate on most types of boats, either outboard motorization, inboard motorization, sailboat, whichever your use case is, we can pretty much find you an answer with our solutions, which is fantastic because I think most newcomers in the electrification markets see full electric as simply replacing the ICE by an electric motor, and they call it today, but they forget that there's way more in play. As we grow with BlueNav, we're only 4 years old, but we discover more and more cultures, more and more use cases, more and more expectations, more and more constraints with weather conditions that
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
allow you. So we feel that hybrid is a good answer for now.
I would agree.
It also brings user and the awareness of transitioning slowly. We call that a soft transition. So helping people evolve their mindset and evolve their habits, and understanding that you can get a greater benefit by accepting to go a little bit slower.
Yeah, no, I understand that idea. That's not a hard one to teach this in there.
Mm.
How about the battery technology? What are you using to power your system?
We manufacture the motors, but we don't provide the energy source. You could possibly use batteries, of course. We can make recommendations on batteries, but if you wanted to power our systems with, let's say, a generator, because you have one on board already, or solar panel wouldn't be sufficient, but they could help a little bit, or any source of energy that would work.
All right.
We adapt to what's already on the boat or the capacity of the boat also, because obviously adding batteries is a weight.
Right.
We make sure that you have the sufficient pack of batteries to have a full day of navigation, but we don't want to put you extra.
Right. So this is where I would think that if you could get involved early in new boat development with a boat builder.
Yes.
Because almost any size boat, yeah, weight's important, but it's also where the weight is.
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes, boat builders will look for opportunities to put weight down low. I mean, the whole gyro stabilization business that has blown up over the last decade. You would think that's a lot of weight you're putting in a boat. Some of these are small boats, but actually done right and properly placed, they actually help not only with the gyro stabilization, but its displacement weight also can be a benefit. Now, I'm aware of battery technology and battery placement in vessels strategically done so it acts as vessel ballast as well as vessel power source. So I guess from my perspective is the guy who was in the boat building business for quite a while, that would be a nice way to kind of bring your product into the OEM market.
Yes, sure.
Yeah.
Sure. We want to make sure that people clearly understand that we do not ever want to match the performances of the combustion engines with our system. So the limited energy that we put on the boat through batteries is obviously studied very carefully with our engineers in-house to make sure of balance and that we don't affect the original performances of the boat with the weight or the placement of the batteries.
Right.
But then what we do is our motors are connected to a smart energy software that learns from the behavior of the pilot, machine learning, and teaches them, make recommendation on how to better use the small energy that they have so they can better profit from the electric navigation. So let's say that you navigate against the wind or against the current with your electric propulsion, then our system will make recommendation and say, you should possibly switch back to combustion now because it's not a good time to navigate electric. Use more energy than necessary.
Ah, fantastic.
So teaching.
And that's again the whole beauty of the hybrid program.
Yes.
Yeah, I get that. Your propulsion system, your motor propeller system, it retracts when you're not using it?
It does retract. It has retractability and rotation that allow for the boat to do a 360 degrees turn on itself. It's a great use of maneuvers. We can talk about anxiety for a little bit.
So we'll get that 800-pound grill in the room identified and out of the way.
There you go. So myself being a boater, when I want to enjoy the water with my husband and kids, I still have stressful moments, especially when it comes to maneuvers, because our marinas are very narrow in Europe. And so it can get a little bit stressful. So we made sure with our systems that the rotation of the turbines allow you to have best maneuvers. And because of the electric, or thanks to the electric propulsion, you have a torque that's more important than combustion.
Right, yes, exactly.
So you're very little affected by the inertia of the boat, and you can You can be more reactive when it comes to doing things smoothly and avoiding, I don't know, strong winds that would push you.
So I'm going to ask you to say that one more time because I get it. I want to make sure that the people listening to this also understand that the electric truck, and you talk about that with the electric car and the electric vehicle, same
Yes.
thing.
They respond faster
That's right.
than a combustion engine, and our turbines have a 45-degree angle of rotation. And since we put two twin installations on board, that allows you to have an ease of maneuver that is strongly enhanced compared to your traditional engine.
Right.
And so you can control your boat much faster and much better. And you do not have the struggle sometimes of, fighting against the elements
That's right.
that push you against the direction that you're actually trying to reach.
Current or wind.
Yes,
Those types of things that
yes.
we all struggle with, particularly coming to the dock or leaving the dock.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't know, you would want to refuel your boat or do a tricky maneuver somewhere for whichever reason.
For us, when we tie to a mooring pole,
Yes.
that is tricky because, you want to come up slow and you want to put the mooring ball in a particular place where you can get to it,
Yes.
connect to it. And, the electric drive with that kind of maneuverability would be brilliant for that.
And you talked earlier about our systems being retractable.
Yes.
We never ever wanted to, again, go against users' habits and performances of their boat. If they chose a certain model of boat, it's for a reason, and they might have specific needs at some point. And so we made sure that our turbines retract in a box
Yes.
when you want to navigate combustion, so you don't have drag, basically.
Right. No, that makes perfect sense to me. Go back to that anxiety thing. That's the one thing I'd want to know going into it. Yeah, we clean up the bottom of the boat.
Yes.
You're not using the product. And
Yes.
when you use the product, boys, and there you go.
Yes.
So you're coming to America.
Mhm.
All right. You've got a display here. I saw that. What do you think of IBEX so far?
It's been busy and it's been very interesting. What I can notice so far, we're on day 2 and it's 9 a.m. So a little bit early to say what's going to happen today. Boat builders are very interested. We work only with boat builders and distributors,
Right.
and boat builders have been very eager, more than last year, to understand how they can move with the trend or the necessity to accept electrification of
Right.
boats.
Right.
And when we explain what we do and why we chose to turn boats hybrids rather than fully electrify them, they clearly understand. And it's moving slowly, like you said. It's still a new market to conquer and people to be educated on
Yes.
the benefits of electric propulsion. But we've had a strong answer so far from the boat builders in the US.
I would consider it for a lot of these type models a selling point. That you do have an enhancement to the boat. You've got another option, another feature that is both it's trending in the right way with our societal views of how we use recreation, and it tangibly does just take ecology out of the equation. Not that I want to do that, but just in the usefulness of your vessel, you've enhanced it.
It's in the back of our mind, obviously.
Yes.
Yeah, we have to care about those subjects.
Of course.
What also I think is important is our industry is quite conservative and tends to move slowly to adopting technological trends.
That's right.
And so we're very much connected in our houses, in our cars, in our phones assist us for pretty much anything. And in your recreational boating markets, and you could say some professionals to some extent, we don't necessarily have boats that are equipped with all that technology. And with electric propulsion and its torque responding straight away to your commands, you can add all those features quite easily through software. And
Yes.
we're doing that. We're bringing to markets accessible on a price cost point.
Yep.
autopilot and virtual anchor and docking assistance.
Autonomous docking, things like that.
Yes, docking
Yes.
assistance, fishing assistance, smart motion because you might want for your use case or your workboat a specific movement from your boat following I don't know the waves or the topography of the seabeds or
Right,
anything else.
Yeah.
And we get that available on the market for anybody basically at a very decent price point where you can maintain your boat on its position despite of all the weather conditions by just pressing a button on the dashboard.
Something I was told years ago is like a skyboat concept, right?
Yes.
You got a spot.
You get a spot and your boat doesn't move anymore, and you can only imagine how many things you could do with that.
I can, absolutely. Absolutely.
My use case, obviously, is queuing on the national holiday at the gas station with boaters that have
Oh boy.
a really difficult time maintaining their boats in position in a narrow
space, yeah.
marina. Our marinas are really narrow, so you can have easily 10 boats queuing for refueling, and then. Can you imagine just pressing a button and saying, all right, stay here, do not move until it's your turn to go refuel? That's fantastic, but you could see many other...
Well, my choice would be to run out to one of my favorite dive spots and say, okay, we're on top of it.
Yes.
Stay right here while everybody gets suited up and ready to go in the water.
Yes.
And we don't have to maneuver back and find it again.
There you go.
And boom.
You could also ask the smart features that we have to have your boat drift with the current as the divers are drifting underwater.
Yeah.
You could do that.
Yeah.
You could say, please follow the divers that are underwater. And so when you come back up,
Yeah.
ultimately after your dive,
Yeah.
then you find your boat again in the
It's
same
popular that we
position.
should drift out all the time, but we have to do it visually.
You have to do it visually.
Yeah.
And then with the technology, accepting to bring a little bit more, connection to your boats
Yeah.
allows you to do so many more things and
I love it.
ease you're basically redefining boating, and your user experience is made much, much, much simpler.
I'm picking up on that real well. So Mathilde, it sounds like you're getting ready to scale to the next level. You're coming up in the States. You're going to bring the family over.
We're at least working in that direction.
All right.
We yet have to find and sign a distributor. We have a few ongoing discussions and negotiations, but yes, that's the next step. Obviously, the United States is a huge, huge market that we absolutely want to address.
Well, it's a big market.
It's
and I would think that once your product is understood, your decision's going to not be whether or not you find that distributor, but just make sure you find the right
The
one.
right one, yes.
That's right. That's right. There'll be many to consider and big decisions to be made, but I paid attention to what you guys are doing, and I think it's brilliant. I do think you'll find the product well received because it does check a lot of good boxes. And at the end of the day, no matter where you stand on the idea of electric boats being, green and ecologically sound, or whatever your position on that is, as a boat builder, as a dealer selling boats, if you have a technology, a feature, an enhancement, it's going to help you sell the boat. It's going to give your customer a better boating experience. That's the end of the day. It's what this is all about. It's recreational boating.
Yes, we talked about it yesterday a little bit about how the COVID transformed our ways of thinking and doing things, and we want everything experienced oriented. We want to get the best of what we experience, and you said it yourself. We're talking about recreational or leisure boating, so it has to be a pleasure and it has to be easily made and easily accessible. For a while, for too long maybe, boating was not accessible to everyone because sometimes it was a little bit too difficult for people to feel comfortable maneuvering a boat by themselves.
Yeah.
And we want to get that out of the equation and say, now, if you're not a professional boater or if you're not a born boater, it's fine. You can still go on a boat and maneuver your boat with the ease and the experience and make it accessible to everyone without,
Right on. I interviewed Ken Clinton, the president of Intrepid Power Boats, a few months ago. This was one of the topics of our conversation.
Okay.
What Intrepid's looking at doing is to make their clients' boating experience
Easier.
so that the wife is comfortable going on
Yes.
board, or the girlfriend can operate the boat as well as the guy.
Yes.
You know, and it sounds a little bit,
Cliché.
yeah, so there's a little of that there, but at the end of the day,
It's true.
it's true.
It's
So
true.
whatever we can do to make a better experience, we're enhancing our client base, we're enhancing our industry, and it's all for the best.
I know people in my close circle who've had their boating license for forever and who've been boaters forever, but they will not go on a boating journey by themselves because it is too much stress, too much hustle.
Wow.
You talked about mooring or maneuvers on the boat, but there are many other
Yeah, this
situations that you encounter where you just sometimes panic because it's too much to think of and too many elements to take into consideration. You cannot just go on the boat and go on your journey without caring about many
it's a
elements.
multifaceted, complex machine you're
Yes.
operating on a very sometimes not friendly ocean environment. But
That's
so
true.
things change quickly when we're at the ocean. So no, it's good to have that extra tool in your toolbox, the ability to, go from one propulsion technique to another, to have maneuverability, to be able to switch back if we have to. I think it's good. I really do. And I just wish you and BlueNav have just nothing but the most amazing success as you bring your product and your company here to the States.
Thank you.
I have to believe you will, because I really see what you are doing, and I think it's brilliant. Absolutely.
Thank
And you're so early in the process. I envy you that, because you've got nothing but a future ahead.
I hope so. I sure hope so. We're doing our best to meet expectations of not only our professionals but also our boaters.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, Mathilde, until we see each other again, and I hope we do again in the near future,
Me too.
to you and your family, best. Welcome to the States. Enjoy the IBEX show this week, and can't wait to hear back from you when you say, "Hey, Rick, you won't believe it. I got the distributor. We're ready to come. We're going to do this here, and we have the success for you."
Thank you.
Awesome.
It was a pleasure having that conversation with you, and I'm glad you understand what we're trying to achieve here.
Oh, it's simple. It's easy. I think everybody listening is probably going to pick up on it too. I think you did a good job of bringing it to the layman's ears, where they go, "Oh, that's what I got." Let's hope so, right?
Yes, let's hope so. I'll see you soon.
Mathilde, thank you very much. Thanks for joining Yachting USA. And until the next time, I'm out of here.